welcome to another edition of XFeed. And today we're going over some pretty gnarly headlines. Apparently, Polygon has flipped Ethereum in terms of NFT purchases. We've seen a lot around Ethereum and the fact that the fees generated by the network has fallen absolutely off a cliff as well. We're going over stories regarding the fact that I wish that Abstract had a thing where you didn't have to go through this quick start and then you can see me 500 times over. We're just going over a whole bunch of stuff. This is your first time tuning in. What's up? What's going on? Okay, so yesterday, if you watched the stream yesterday, Mr. Bildo Verde walked in here and was like, bruh, what's your thoughts on Chronoforge? And I said, hold on, Mr. Green. I have that coming up, and I didn't have the page saved at all. I liked the tweet, but I didn't save it. So one of the first partners within Readyverse, this is one of the metaverse worlds that's trying to bring everybody together within the space. Again, a lot of the stuff is kind of siloed. You have different partners and whatnot, and the Readyverse is trying to bring everybody together. And yes, I do follow Aaron, but this thing is friggin' broken. So, cool little graphic here. I don't actually know what in the halibut Chronoforge is, so let's see if we can take like a gander and learn together. A global psychological experiment, a hyperscale battlefield, a universe of AI companions, a game like no other. All right, not that we're pumping the bags already, but holy smokes, that's setting the expectations high. And this is on Abstract Chain. So again, Readyverse, that's over on Root, but Chronoforge over on Abstract, trying to connect over. So, Reclaim Worlds Across Time, a multiplayer action RPG. It's on Epic Games. This kind of looks like a more developed version of what the earlier Guild of Guardians game looked like, for anybody that's seen some of that older gameplay. I think I have saved on my phone or in a Dropbox somewhere those early Guild of Guardian days. Take me back when we were excited. Backed by the best, whole bunch of different investors on there. What sort of game is this? Chronoforge takes traditional roguelike multiplayer RPG gameplay similar to Hades and Diablo and infuses it with strategic PvP and evolving world map. The world centers upon player-governed flying settlements that merge, upgrade, and can be destroyed based on the combined decisions of players. Nobody knows quite how the world will end up looking. So it looks like it's something that's evolutionary, or is evolutionary right the word? Yeah, I guess so, because it's going to evolve over time. So excited to see what that looks like. I guess if we're going over to like the adventures here, we'll just take like another quick gander at it. Oh my god, the Chronoforge, there's 7,500 items with almost 7,000 volume, and the floor price is 0.3. Holy guacamole. $533. So Chronoforge, pretty decent sized game. Not bad, not bad. But let's continue the roll about gaming and things happening in Web3. Robbie Ferguson, 2 years ago, we announced that we were partnering with Ubisoft. Thrilled to finally be able to reveal the outcomes of our biggest partnership yet. We're launching Might and Magic, Fates with Ubisoft, and it's coming this year. Now, Might and Magic is a very popular IP. I remember playing that way back in the day. I haven't really paid attention to it. So I guess when I say like it's a really popular IP, I don't know personally how big it is currently, but I know that the name does have weight. Might and Magic is one of the largest and longest running gaming franchises in the world. Okay, there we go. Millions of global players, 40 years of IP, millions in funding, developed by the studio behind Assassin's Creed, Just Dance, Far Cry, and more. With Ubisoft connects 138 million plus users, we're expecting MAU growth, I think that's monthly active users, that will make the last few years look like a footnote. And this is just stage one of the partnership. More details coming soon. Stay tuned because we're not stopping until immutable games are played by 1 billion plus people worldwide. So this actually brings me back to the conversation that I had with the guy from Polymos that is doing the rentals for Illuvium, and Illuvium is on IMX, if I remember my games and the chains and all that kind of jazz. And so if they're bringing this big player, they're talking about how they have connections and all this stuff. I wonder if Ubisoft at all is doing something with Polymos, if it's something completely different. But either way, still really, really cool that you have a major studio that is bringing a specific IP to blockchain, because we've had studios venture in. I've seen a couple people say, oh, well, this is like the first of its kind within. It's like I don't really trust anything that says, oh, we're first in this in this day and age, but it does look like there is a chance that this could be one of the first major IPs on that front. Yo, peanut butter jelly time, what's going on? How are we? You doing all right? Yo, you doing all right? Love to see it. Okay. New beautiful partnership with Ubisoft. And these are some takes regarding it. Ubisoft isn't as amazing as I'd hope. Okay. So the founder went into it and being like, yo, this is going to be the gnarliest announcement we've ever seen. This is where you kind of have to set expectations. So some people think, that wasn't as big as we initially thought. But people are saying, in quotes, not another trading card game. My guy, there's only one good TCG in Web3 right now. They're saying that it's Gods Unchained, and this has one huge IP behind it. If they actually market and do it right, this could be pretty big. Let's just hope Ubisoft plans on putting more weight behind it than Champions Tactics. Yeah, Champions Tactics was the game that came out. It got some hype initially, and then it just kind of fell flat. The combat, the whole ecosystem stuff, it wasn't as vibe as I thought. And I actually think that we have a interview with Champions Tactics. But it's because I think it was called Champions Ascension, and then it changed it to Tactics, because a lot of people seem to do that. But also, I don't know if I necessarily agree that like it's the only TCG that's gotten attention. Vibes TCG is out there. I mean, like, yeah, Gods Unchained was good, but you know, I'm trying to think back. There was a card game. It was like Dark County. I think Jeremy put me onto it. And it was like a niche chain early days. I want to say maybe it was Wax, but it's funny to think about all these chains and stuff that we were watching, paying attention to, potentially bought things for that like just simply don't exist anymore whatsoever. But Yellow Panther talking about investing in gaming and AI. A big lesson from someone who invested $500,000 into gaming and AI private rounds last year. It was my first exposure into these, so I got a little excited and thought everything will be rainbows and sunshines. Reality is that 90% of them will fail, and that's okay. I learned to bet on people and teams who have the capability to deliver under any conditions. From my investment perspective, I only really need one or two successful projects to do well to make it back and more. That's why I much prefer the route of advisory. I'm hands-on, helping and providing market insights to my advisory partners to increase the chance of them succeeding. I always bet on myself. Some partners that I've worked and working with are CAR, blah, 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 a couple of other people. Okay, so this is, I just want to pause for a second, right, and talk about like the advisory role. So this is interesting because I feel like there is so many things that happen within Web3 across projects, games, or whatever that you just sit there and you're like, who the hell is advising these people? Why? And it's just bonehead decisions or awful things. And you just kind of question around like, all right, who's advising for these things? So the advising roles, I think, are very important. But then it comes down to, are the advisors giving good advice? And then are the teams listening to these advisors and actually acting on it? Because I think there would be a lot of shenanigans that just wouldn't happen if that was the case. But I digress. Oh, Buffalo, what's going on? Dark County, it was like on Flow, Wax, ETH couldn't get their shit together. It was all over. It still exists on Immutable as well. It's tough. I mean, it's cool that it still exists, but yeah, it kind of goes back to the point of 90% fail. Or maybe not fail, but they have to iterate 605 times, and you hope they don't run out of runway until they find something that hits. So Tyler Did It had this thread that was talking about Pokemon, and Kagi Jan responded. We'll go over the Pokemon thread in a second, but he's saying, like, Pokemon on chain, I doubt it. If Pokemon implements anything on chain, it will be their own chain. Totally agree. Think about all these projects, right? And builders that have this massive IP. They're not just going to work with anybody, right? That's why we see top collabs with top collections, but then also, if you're big enough and you have the funding, why the hell not make your own chain? Because again, all of this is about extra transactions, earning things in the background 100%. Have you played Raven Quest yet? You're dead to me if the answer is no. We're gonna keep the webcam off for the rest of the stream, so we don't we're pretending that we're not existing. That's got no way of understanding where we are. That's what we do. That's what we do. Okay, so Tyler Did It. Pokemon on Sui. The rumor mill is working overtime on this one. Today, Pokemon Home had a privacy policy update, which includes a new developer, Parasol Technologies. Miston Labs, whatever the hell that is, owns Parasol, okay? And is also the developer behind Sui. Not hard to start connecting these dots. So, it's funny, we sit here, and I mean, to use Snazzy as a reference here, is like, yo, have you tried out Raven Quest? Have you tried it yet? And I'm like, no. And they're like, you might be an idiot for not trying. I'm like, yeah. And this is the same thing. It's like, well, I've not messed around with Sui. Are we all going to massively regret if hypothetically Sui is the network that Pokemon goes on, but then it goes, back to, all right, is people actually going to be building on there for Pokemon, or they're just going to do their own thing? But we love having a little bit of speculation out there. Ahmed Aldani, this isn't a crazy take by any means, but every founder is a content creator. It's time more realize that. And I saw Algie post earlier about why the hell are certain teams not just posting daily clips of things? And it's like, all right, are people afraid of somebody going rogue, right? Like, so hypothetically, let's say that I get hired by somebody and they're like, listen, we need you to do like TikToks every day. And then I'm just like, you know what? One day I hate everything about this collection. I have a huge crash out. It goes way downhill. And that sort of situation happened with Gala Games and a creator. I think it was like the Jesus Martinez guy. And I don't really remember all of it, but I think we covered it on stream at the time. But it was somebody who was covering a network and all this stuff, and then they just completely 180'd and just started bashing it. And it's like, I mean, that's terrifying to think about. Maybe it's a little bit different if you have like versus like a content creator that's doing content about a lot of stuff versus somebody directly hired on the team. But then if that person decides to go elsewhere, and then, I mean, I guess there's questions about it, but I do kind of agree that it's weird that we don't see more content from certain founders or teams on like a daily basis, because I feel like there is an opportunity to do an opportunity to do so. Is Raven Quest on mobile yet? Yes, Stazzy. Is Raven Quest on mobile yet? That is a question we'll have answer to. Okay, Bloomberg. Here is Jack Mallers talking about, I believe, their big 900 million Bitcoin buying thing that's going on here. Let's see. The new 21 Capital.
BPS stands for Bitcoin per share, as opposed to earnings per share. And the other is BRR, which stands for Bitcoin return rate. And my job and what I'm dedicated to do for our shareholders, in which we view similar to our customers, is grow our Bitcoin per share. So we're an operating company. And when you buy a share of 21, in a hypothetical sense, what we intend to do is, let's say our Bitcoin per share is 0.05. Our intent is to be able to grow that to 0.06 Bitcoin per share, 0.07 Bitcoin per share. Where a vehicle like an ETF, your exposure is static. So 21's an operating business, and we will be building Bitcoin products, Bitcoin operative cash flow, and then using the capital markets to accretively grow the Bitcoin on our balance sheet. So we want our shareholders to get wealthier, get richer in Bitcoin terms, and our metrics encourage the market to view us not in fiat terms, in Bitcoin terms, because we're not here to necessarily beat the market. We're here to build a new one and encourage the world to adopt Bitcoin in a sense that we believe it hasn't yet.
But Jack, you already
Okay, so we're not going to watch all of that because it's like 4 minutes. But I mean, listen, the people that are Bitcoin maxis that are pushing out Bitcoin out there, talking about some crazy things that are going on. You've seen it on your timeline. Hell, you might be a Bitcoin maxi. And then you see Jack Mallers getting on here talking about this. You're like, okay, you know what? It's crazy. This is like a couple people getting together to do it. Imagine if the world decides to join in. Holy smokes. Scott Melker, big crypto personality. Imagine this. I'm sick. I was just contacted by a private investigator who informed me that a client of his was scammed of $4 million by a Nigerian group using my name and face as the bait. They've apparently scammed a number of people. They sent him a fake driver's license to prove it, and it was me with my Twitter avatar as the photo. I will once again reiterate, I will never ask anyone for money, never DM, and I have no fund or investment group of any sort. I mean, like, what the hell? I'm trying to find, yeah. So let me bring this one up now. So in 2024, there was $9.3 billion in crypto losses due to scams. And apparently the incidents were reported 100% more than in 2023. And the largest age group was 60 plus, which I don't really know how to view that because we use the conversational pieces of, yeah, there's a lot of younger people within crypto, but there's still older people, and maybe they're not as familiar with some of the tactics, falling for things easy, thinking, oh, this is life-changing of any sorts, but it's like, damn, that sucks. But 149,000 complaints on it. Crazy statistic. And then so let's listen to this guy. This is like the Boston Bruins manager or whatever.
Presenting the 4% price increase for the season ticket holders.
Well,
on top of the 9% last year. See,
This is talking about the 4% price increase.
ticket pricing is a sensitive subject. I'm aware of that. Things cost more. The way our structure and U.S. economy is based, things cost more. I expect that you probably pay your higher electric bill than you did last year. I know that.
Snazzy, can you go to the Boston Bruins, let them know that you're the PR expert and that they need to hire you? Because what an absolute dog wash answer. What? No idea. We're referencing it. Listen, our prices are going up because you're paying more for your electricity too anyway. You should be expecting it. What a terrible, terrible answer. My goodness. Big day from Imogen Heap and Shara over at the Generation. Yes, we got AI tooling. What do we got?
A style filter is more than sound. It's an official license to use an artist's style in your generations. This is how music evolves, with respect for where it began. The old system pays artists last. Ours pays them first. Every style filter you buy pays the creators behind the sound. Each style filter is trained on a single track and lets you generate your own music with its essence and vibe. You own the final generation. Because at Gen, we believe innovation only works when generosity flows both ways.
So again, we'll highlight different AI things as they happen, but we've talked a lot about like AI agents and whatnot, but this is kind of cool for people that are building in the music world. So, yo, Night Loki, what's up? The, man, I don't know if people are just engagement farming out here or if they like really hate collections. The guy, holy. So this morning, the Artifact collection just, it completely disappeared. And I can't even read what the message said, but it said something about how it's not allowed to be used on this certain service or something. So we got somebody that had a full breakdown. So let's see what it is. Clone X and Animus collections are currently on their way to be decentralized to AR Weave thanks to AirDrive app and should be back online for an infinite amount of time in a few hours. For the curious people, here is what happened. Cloudflare Pro plan is finishing on the 30th of April. Change of infrastructure has been in discussion since company's sunset in December, but decision took time to be taken because of internal corpo process, the usual. Beginning of April, the decision to stay on Cloudflare free was finally approved, and I started the work to move the infrastructure. Somehow this morning, Cloudflare decided to move to the free plan a few days before the end of the contract, which also triggered that bug in which Cloudflare refuses to stream images and videos. There is no Cloudflare support available because we're not on US hours, and I hadn't yet decentralized the files, and I was counting on doing it in the next few days. Other tasks, like stuff, were important to do. Tough morning, but it'll be back shortly. Okay. We go from like this morning to wake up, artifacts are wrong, everything's terrible, to like, hey guys, we're changing an app, this, that, and the other thing, and it's like, all right, have a good day. Love the space and the hyper emotion. Breaking, Tether has acquired over 10% of Juventus Football Club's share capital, becoming a significant shareholder with 6.18% of voting rights. Damn. Tether out there acquiring some big dogs. We'll see. And think about it. Because over in the esports realm, there was a couple discussions back when FTX was sponsoring a lot of teams. Like TSM had like a multi-million-dollar FTX deal. I think Arenas had the same sort of thing, but for esports, there was a conversation around like, yeah, I don't know if we would have like survived if we didn't have crypto money getting put in to the scene at the time. And not that Juventus needs this by any means, but it'll be interesting to see the powerhouses within crypto, especially if the market picks back up again, what acquisitions, what things look like, who is trying to get what. And a little bit from Coinbase and PayPal. Incredibly excited to work with Brian Armstrong and the Coinbase team to create more seamless way for Coinbase users to access the PayPal USD and to collaborate on future use cases. We're innovating and building the future of commerce using the latest technologies from AI to blockchain to stablecoins to provide our customers with the most advanced ways to engage in a shopping experience. So everything we do is getting a little bit of a makeup. But let's see a lot. Pudgy Penguins. This is their unboxing of their, I think it's like 500 specialty items.
GM, Luca Nuts here, and we are going to do a review on the Pudgy in Bellyland Pudgy X Lotte partnership. So you got this pretty epic box. So once you open it, Blue Pengu and his counterpart Polly, you can take them out. Wow, this is epic. So you take them out, it's actually really well done. Take out the other one, Mr. Blue Pengu and his outfit, pretty epic. There's a kicker. There's a set of accessories. So you can swap out the top to do your own little ice cream cones. You hook them up, you get them ice creamed out, you have Pengu and Polly ready to go to war, ice cream war with the opposition. So inside the box, we actually have this ice cream guide. And this ice cream guide is representative of the different lands within Valleyland. And so these are all representative of different locations within the universe. On the inside of the top of the box, there's a little collectible. You tap it, and boom, you redeem your digital collectible. And next, there's also a little card here that comes with inside the box. You can scan the 2 different QR codes. One takes you to Valleyland, another takes you to Pudgy World, and you can also redeem specific outfits and attire in both of those universes.
I mean, not bad. That's kind of cool. The question is, though, for you, how much would you pay for that access? And you want just the digital skins, or would you care about having the physical with it? These are the questions. Cool Cats. Streams are back. Live streams start next week on April 29th on all platforms listed below. Be sure to follow us. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of been quiet on the Cool Cat front since the TV episodes seem to have slowed down, but interesting to see that Klon is back doing streams. So I'm guessing some bigger stuff is happening around Cool Cats, or they just decided, hey, we want to bring back the streams because they did well, but usually that means stuff is happening. So again, Tuesday and Thursday, it looks like things are happening. It's going to be on Klon's Twitch or the Cool Cats socials across the board. Not too shabby. Robbie, again, they announced the Magic and Might Fates game a little bit earlier. He might be that's crazy. We are now in the era of AAA Web3 gaming studios. These companies literally have billions of revenue to spend acquiring players, will bring more users to Web3 than any other use case combined. So this is cool, right? And I think Robbie's one of the few people that have been abhorrently bullish on things. But also, like, Immutable's going into this year talking about how they have like 200 plus games. They've put millions of dollars into things. And I genuinely don't see much about IMX on my timeline, like, ever. And so it's like, all right, all these things sound good, but are people actually going to be paying attention to it? Or we think, hey, like, people will recognize it, but, you know, they don't go out and actually play it. I'm not trying to dig on it. I'm just simply saying. Okay, guys, what's going on with Forbes? Who's doing what here? More than a game. Scottie Pippen's mission to bring culture on change. So if you miss what happened with Scottie Pippen, the guy tried to do like this meme coin before that was, it's not a meme, it's an RWA. We have a basketball from like game 6, whatever, of one of the Chicago Bulls championships, and we're going to fractionalize it, and you can buy these tokens for it. Now, he's out there saying all this crazy stuff, and you always have the questions of, you know, like, is celebrities getting into space? Do they actually care? Are they kind of fibbing it a little bit? So let's read 2 paragraphs on this, and then you can make up your mind for yourself. Scottie Pippen isn't jumping into crypto for attention. He's here to build. The Hall of Famer is part of a growing wave of athletes who see blockchain not just as a financial opportunity, but as a cultural one. So this is the problem, right? Because I sound like I'm an asshole when I'm like, you know what, I don't know if the celebrity's actually in here, because all of them have had a horrible rap or try to do something weird, but maybe, you know what? Maybe some of them are here trying to do something good. In our conversation, he reflected on how little players talked about investing during his NBA days, why Bitcoin finally clicked for him, and how his latest project, Ball Token, isn't just another token, says everyone. It's a bet that physical objects like the championship basketball from his first title can carry value across blockchains, generations, and communities. Pippen's resume speaks for itself. 6 NBA championships, 7 All-Star appearances, 10 All-Defensive Team selections, and 2 Olympic gold medals. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame twice, once as an individual and again as a member of the legendary 1992 Dream Team. Widely regarded as one of the greatest two-way basketball players in history, Pippen's impact on the game has felt across decades. Now he's aiming to leave a similar mark on a new arena. All right, there's going to be more to that, but I'm not entirely reading it. We got like a little bit of a slice, and then it goes into the background. I mean, we'll see. Scottie Pippen, keep it in your mind. Yeah, they're here for the goods or the goods. Polygon NFTs overtake Ethereum collectibles in 7-day sales. I'm sorry, what? The surge was driven by an RWA NFT marketplace called Courtyard, which tokenizes physical collectible cards. And we do have an interview with Nicholas Lejeune, who's the CEO and founder of that. We talk about how they seeded, all that kind of stuff. Again, that's the RWA Segments podcast. If you check the link down below, if you're on YouTube, or in my bio on X. Let's quickly go through here, see what the goods are. Polygon-based non-fungible tokens took the top spot in digital collectible sales after surging at 20% in the last 7 days. On April 22nd, NFT data tracker CryptoSlam showed that Polygon NFTs overtook Ethereum, reaching a $22.3 million volume in the last week. Listen, if we got $22 million worth of NFTs being bought, not bad, you know what I mean? This represented 24% of last week's overall NFT sales volume, which reached 92.9 million. I would have never guessed that we actually have like a weekly volume across the entire space of almost 100 million. Like that's actually some serious numbers. The network also had over 39,000 NFT buyers for the week, an 81% increase over the previous. And Ethereum remains second in sales with 19.2 million NFT sales volume. And Mythos chain followed with 14.3. So Mythos there. It seems the Bitcoin ordinals maybe not as exciting, but again, very, very close to what Mythos is doing. And then Solana and then Immutable X. So again, not to be discounted on Immutable, still doing over 5 million in sales per week. It's also funny that they have like the wash sales on here, and Ethereum is like by far the most washed sales. Unreal. So Polygon getting some love, some RWAs, and all of that goodness. But that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. And isn't it super weird seeing myself twice over here? And when it clicks over, it will see me again and again and again. But thank you so much for coming on through. Buffalo Space, Snazzy, thank you. Night Loki as well. Hope you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed this. Tomorrow is Friday, and I'll catch you. Peace.